Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order, that being the regular council meeting of Warwick Township Council, October 7th, 2024, and as always at 3:30 PM unless otherwise stated. I'll remind council of disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest. Does anybody have any conflict or pecuniary interest they want to declare at this time? Seeing none, thank you. Also like to welcome everybody who's joining us through our Warwick Township YouTube link. And now I'm going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario, whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs, and offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. Go number 5 on the agenda, council minutes of the previous council meeting. Does anybody have any questions on those minutes? Seeing that, I would entertain a motion to approve. Councillor Westgate, Councillor Morris is seconding that. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And we had no business arising from those minutes, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Council 7A is scheduled meetings and events. Does anybody have any questions on any of those dates at this time? Seeing none. 7B, more information. Any question on the particular piece of information provided? Seeing none. Thank you. Let's go to number 8 if we can on the agenda. Councillor commitment dates. Did anybody have anything they'd like to change or put on the sheet? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
Yeah, I won't be around October 19th.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anybody else? As always, if there's any changes, you can always let the clerk know and she can update the list. Let's go to councilors' items if we can, please. I'm going to start with the Deputy Mayor. John, what do you have for us today?
I have nothing this time. Thank you.
Councillor Manning.
I have nothing today. Thank you.
Councillor Westgate.
I was just wondering, I was out at the cemetery and all our plywood and stuff is sitting outside the building. Is that building condemned? It doesn't look like it should be. I'm just wondering why everything's sitting outside.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Westgate. So that building has been identified as a risk through our asset management company who did our facilities assessments. So we do have the items outside as of right now. We're currently investigating in part with our cemetery board on what might be the best solution moving forward for that facility, whether it's doing some extensive work to it or finding an alternative solution in terms of potentially a new building on how we proceed with putting those items away. So the work is underway, and we'll keep council posted on any progress, and we'll come through, as I mentioned, the cemetery board.
Yeah, I guess the building is got cracks in the side and stuff, but it's not about fall down and does the job, I think. It's only the floor inside probably that's all heaved up and stuff, but I think the building's fine for what we need.
Yes, thank you for those comments. But again, it was the company that was contracted to do the assessments that made that final decision. But I think that, to your point, is where we're kind of looking at whether or not there is a solution to be had where we fix the building. So we're working on it.
Okay, that has come up. I've heard that scenario as well, Councillor Westgate, and the building doesn't look like it should be condemned by any means. But it's good to know that Ryan is taking a look at it. It has come up from other members of the public as well. So thank you for that. Hopefully we can maybe get some answers on that particular building, because it is a place where you can store things and keep them dry out of the weather. So Councillor Morris.
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I have one thing. I was invited by our new MPP, Steve Pinsonneau, to a Rural Affairs Roundtable. He is the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Rural Affairs, Lisa Thompson, who used to be the agricultural minister, a couple of weeks ago. And the two topics that I brought forward were natural gas expansion in Warwick and three-phase hydro expansion in Warwick Township. We're lacking both. And our friends from Supper here today, Matthew's here, and they're going to make a presentation, and they also touched on the natural gas side as well. They were there and touched on some other initiatives at that particular roundtable. So it was a good opportunity to be amongst 30 other people to talk about the issue that we have. And it was good to hear the MPP say for something, actually make the statement that it was approved here, as we all know, approximately 6 years ago, and was yanked away from us and went to another municipality. So it was good to hear the MPP actually state that. And it was an opportunity for us to obviously talk about our situation and being underserved here again. Enbridge was also there, and they also made the same statement that obviously they felt that we were underserved as well. So just want to let everybody know that we continue to work on that. It's a work in progress, and we're not going to let up. So very good. Staff items. We don't have anything today verbally for staff items, I don't believe. Mr. Van Horn? No?
I do have it
Mic, microphone, if you would.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
This one here, so. Oh, I'm sorry, it's actually on camera. So
Okay.
we'll save that up.
Very good. Thank you. So there's nothing else for staff items, what I'm seeing? Okay, very good. So we are just a little ahead of the game. We have delegation starting at 3:45. Let's go to number 11, council, on your agenda. That's the GL report. Did anybody, 11A, did anybody have any questions on the GL report today? Seeing no questions on the GL report. Did anybody have any questions on the accounts payable report? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve both, council, if you saw fit. Thank you. Councillor Manning is moving that, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Let's move on to our consent agenda, number 12, 12A, non-action correspondence. Did anybody have anything on the non-action correspondence? Yes, Councillor Morris.
Yeah, I'd like to ask council's opinion on 10-03. What it comes down to, it's about the funding for Canada Community Building Funds. Through and AMO is supporting it. I'm just wondering if we should support the municipality of Tweed on this.
Okay, so are you making a motion?
I am making a motion. Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Just a little update on maybe the bike park. I think you gave a verbal at the Parks and Rec meeting, but I just wonder where we're at. I know nothing's gonna happen this year, but.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Kallenberg. We did discuss at length during our meeting the future of Centennial Park as part of our larger master planning process for all outdoor areas within the park. And as we all know, a big piece of that is the BMX bike area. We do have some options that we looked at, including some concept drawings for a revitalized, maybe scaled down version of the bike park, potential all wheels park that we're currently looking at. We're working with a company as well, Park and Play Designs, and our local contractor who was part of the BMX bike park to come up with some concepts and options that we'll continue to review through the committee that will come back at budget time for 2025 budget deliberations. So we'll have some concrete numbers and some plans, concepts that we think may or may not work for council to discuss, for council to deliberate in terms of a 2025 capital investment project.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Any other questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and file as amended, with the caveat as amended. Councillor Morris, Councillor Westgate, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Let's go to number 13, reports and items requiring a motion. I will read them out. Stop me if you want to make a motion. 10-26, and that's from J and E McAllister requesting for some tipping fee reimbursement. How does council wish to deal with this particular? Councilor Westgate?
I think we should do that for them. We did it for other people.
You're making that motion, Councilor?
Yes, I am.
Seconded by Councilor Morris. Any further discussion on this one? All in favor? Oh, Councilor Morris?
Yeah, the second part of that involves service master. I think that I don't feel that should be covered in the same motion. I think that's a separate one.
Okay, I think it was for the tipping fee, Madam Clerk. Tipping fees only, so we are covering it correctly. Any other questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Let's go to 10-27. This is the Forest Kiwanis, I guess looking for me or a representative to go into the parade. I'll tell you what, we will get back to them on this one. Make sure the dates work. And if I can't make it, I'll be reaching out to one of you folks to see if you're interested in going. Okay, so we will get back to them on that particular item. And let's go to 10-28. And it's from Mike Brown. He's requesting permission to trap in the municipality. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. I'm trying to go back in time with my memory on how we handled it. Does anybody else, can anybody else remember? Councilor Westgate?
I don't ever remember giving anybody permission to trap. We do have a couple of people that we do use for trapping wildlife and stuff. So I think maybe we should just, I don't think he needs our permission, to tell you the truth. If he's got his trapper's license, maybe we should put him on our list of trappers, that's all.
Councilor Morris?
Well, every time I see we give permission for somebody doing something on township roads like this, road allowance, it always seems to end up on the private property part. Also, there's a very thin line there. Don't think I'm approving of it either. I don't know if I want traps set along on township property too badly.
Okay, maybe a suggestion, maybe if the clerk wouldn't mind just contacting this individual and just see exactly what their intentions were. And we can maybe follow up on it at our next meeting. Just a little more information. It's obviously it's a pretty broad request. So some good points for it. Is everybody okay with that? Yes, Councilor Westgate.
I'd just like to make one point that some of our ditches and stuff are being plugged up with beaver dams and stuff. We do need to trap them. We do need to get them out. We do need the trappers in the area.
Very good. So let's find out exactly what this person is talking about doing. And yes, we've had some good conversations around our drainage system and so on about the issue with beavers, and we're going to have to address that, Councilor Westgate. Okay, very good. Let's, Council, I'm just taking a look. I'm going to take us a little bit off agenda here. I want to go to 13B if I can before we get into the presentations, and that's the sump pump disconnect and backwater valve program. As we all know, last time we met, there was a little bit of money left in the program still, and then now it's been depleted. We do have people that have applications out there. There's no way of us actually knowing who has an application, who doesn't, because they can take them online, they can pick them up here. But it has been depleted. We do have people out there that have gone ahead with the process and now are waiting on us to make a decision. There's a recommendation there to put $30,000 more into it and then carry it over to budget. So that means anybody who has an outstanding bill can bring it to the township and they can get reimbursed for that. We don't want them to, I don't think the intention was ever to make them wait. So how does council wish to deal with this recommendation? Councillor Manning is moving that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Morris, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So we're waiting on Alex. Is he here? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll wait on Alex. Can you hear me? Okay, so we'll just give Alex a chance to log in. We will go to him. Okay, Alex, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello, Alex, can you
Apologies
hear
for
me?
not, I can. Can you hear me all right?
You're muted. He's not muted. Okay.
Right now.
Alex, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Technology is great when it works.
Yeah, he can hear us.
Okay. So Alex, we can hear you. We can't hear you, but you can hear us, I think is the situation we're dealing with.
Hmm.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Now we
great.
can hear you. Yeah, now we can hear you, Alex. Thank you. So 10A on our agenda is Alex. He's an associate with Garrett Pickfield LLP regarding the annual technical review that the TRT team puts together on an annual basis. He's going to present it today. Welcome, Alex, and I'll turn the floor over to you to make your presentation.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Case, and thank you, members of council. So I'm just here to present the annual review. I'm going to give council a very quick overview of the process every year, just as a reminder, because I know it's been a while since we last spoke about this. I'm going to summarize the findings of our TRT in the final annual review. And then I'm just going to read out the resolution that we're asking council to support today. And of course, as always, be open to any questions. I anticipate I'll be about 8 minutes or so. So as a reminder to council, each year the township has a technical review team made up of a group of scientists and financial experts who review the annual report prepared by Waste Management for the Twin Creeks landfill. So every year, Twin Creeks produces, I think it's about a 1,000-page report with a extensive collection of scientific reports about how the landfill is doing. And we have a team that reviews that and provides comment. So we received that. We have provided our initial comments to Waste Management in June. Think of that kind of as draft comments. After that date, our consultants met with Waste Management's consultants to discuss their review and to see if we can resolve any of the issues that we found with their reporting. Those meetings took place over the summer. Waste Management provided us back with their formal response to our comments on August 13th. And so based on that, we prepared a final report and some final comments, which is what I'm bringing before council today. So I'll go through some of the key findings. We have 6 disciplines. So first, in terms of landscape and visual impacts, all the concerns that we raised were addressed sufficiently by Waste Management. For surface and groundwater, generally Waste Management was responsive to our comments. There were a couple of good key outcomes, including agreement on target leachate removal. So leachate is just a fancy word for the water that collects in a landfill that has chemicals from the landfill in it. It has to be removed, otherwise it will spread over and out of the landfill. So we agreed on how much liquid should be removed, and Waste Management is removing that amount of liquid, which is a good thing. It reduces risk. One issue that has come up in the past is the landfill has had a small number of very elevated TSS levels. So that's total suspended solids. Think of it like the number of particulates in water. There aren't many of these exceedances, but the exceedances that we do see are significantly over the suggested amount. So our team identified a potential cause for this. One of them is a stockpile of soil in the landfill, which is normal. You have to have a stockpile of soil because you use it to cover the garbage in the landfill. And Waste Management thinks that the new road that they're constructing will help to reduce these exceedances. So it's something that we're going to follow up on in future years. Both for landfill engineering and for noise, our comments were all resolved, and we'll continue to monitor next year to make sure that these resolutions are in fact carried out in the reporting. For air quality, as with every year, one thing that we recommended is real-time dust monitoring. There are air quality exceedances for dust. A real-time system is just what it sounds like. It lets you monitor in real time continuously what the dust levels are around the landfill. It's not required by Waste Management. Our technical team recommends it, but of course the agreement we have with Waste Management doesn't require it. So Waste Management is saying that this can be reviewed as a part of the landfill expansion proposal to see if the landfill is going to be expanded. Is this a part of what that might look like? And our technical experts seem to be satisfied that that would be an appropriate time to review that in more detail, which is good because it's been something we've been requesting for a number of years. For the financial audit, everything was resolved except for one technical wording problem that we've had for a couple of years. It's the same issue. Basically, it has to do with the certificate of insurance and what is required for notification to the township if that is canceled or amended. I'm happy to go into more detail if council wants, but essentially it's a technical issue. I don't think that it carries any risk to the township. It's just about, does this certificate of insurance reflect the exact wording in the host municipality agreement that we have? Without that alignment, I don't think there's any risk to the township. But from a technical standpoint, of course, our financial expert wants to see alignment there. So we'll see if we can get alignment on that. One important note, and I'm happy to answer questions in this too. Of course, our team of scientists recommend, as they do every year, for increased inspection by the ministry. As you might imagine, the more oversight you get, the lower number of exceedances you're likely to see. That's the opinion of our technical experts. Now, recently, last year, the township agreed not to ask the ministry for more inspections. And it's my recommendation that we continue to not ask the ministry for more inspections. I just wanted to note from a technical standpoint, the scientists, of course, always want more, but from a political standpoint, the township might not want to ask for more because we've heard feedback from the ministry that they are satisfied with the amount of inspection, the frequency, and they want to keep it that way. They're not as open to increasing inspection.
So Alex, if I can just jump in on that one for a quick second.
Mhm.
We've continued for quite some time to ask for a full-time inspector. We've done that for years, only to be told by the minister, the previous minister, that was not in play, but that doesn't mean we're still not going to raise that from time to time with them. But you are correct in the sense that we've been told by the former minister, Mr. Pacini, that that was not something that we're going to look at, but that doesn't mean we're not going to continue to ask, especially as we see more and more information on how this new landfill site could unfold and what it would actually, what kind of scientific changes it would make. So we are really relying on the TRT team for that information and feedback. But just because we've been told not to bring it up anymore doesn't mean we're not going to. Again, we're going to base our discussions with the minister based on the information the technical review team provides us. So that's not something that's off the table completely. I just wanted to state that for the record. So sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all. I appreciate that clarification, Mayor Case, and that additional detail. So it is, of course, a political decision. You just have to balance what the ministry is suggesting versus what the technical experts are suggesting. And of course, I'll leave that with council to decide. My advice is that it might be better brought up in AMO type meetings rather than sort of a formal process. And our firm's happy to talk further about that in the future if desired. So that's a summary of what we saw in the review. In the last few years, we've seen better results. So that means fewer exceedances. We've seen a high level of cooperation with waste management. I think that makes sense. It makes sense. It's no secret that waste management is looking for an expansion here. They're, in my opinion, running a pretty good ship. And I think cooperation has always, at least for the last few years, been pretty high, and we're seeing that again now. So that process is going well. So in terms of the resolution that we're looking for from council, I'll just read it out here for everyone's benefit. Whereas the township has now received from its technical review team, the TRT, the final updated version of the tracking sheet, that's the comment table, for the TRT 2024 WM Twin Creeks Landfill Annual Review. And whereas this final report confirms that most, but not all of the recommendations arising out of the year have been resolved, be it resolved that the township confirms completion of its 2024 annual review of the Twin Creeks landfill for the 2023 reporting year, and that township staff be directed to schedule a meeting between waste management and township representatives to discuss waste management's efforts to address outstanding items related to complaints and complaints procedures at the landfill, and to discuss options to advance solutions with respect to these items. And that the township directs the final version of the TRT 2024 annual review with the updated tracking sheet to be forwarded to waste management and the landfill public liaison committee. And finally, that the representatives of the TRT be directed to attend the next meeting of the Landfill PLC Public Liaison Committee to present the results / outcomes of this year's annual review. That's the resolution that we're looking for from council, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, before we get to the resolution part, did anybody on council have any questions for Alex today on the TRT report? I'm not seeing any. So there is the resolution that Alex has just provided us with. How does council wish to deal with that resolution? Councilor Westgate?
I will move the resolution.
Councilor Westgate, do we have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg seconding that? Okay, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, Alex, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for your time, Mayor, and good to see you, council. Take care.
All right, thank you, Alex. Take care. Okay, council, we have one other delegation today. Today we have Chantel Kaur, Economic Development Officer with SLEP, and Matthew Slawinski, Chief Executive Officer. And they're here today to make a presentation on economic development items for the Township of Warwick. Folks, if you'd please join us. So as always, what we'll do is we'll turn the floor over to you, and you can make your presentation. If we have any questions, we'll ask at the end of the presentation, unless it's something that needs to be stated or asked during. So I'll turn it over to you, Matthew and Chantel. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And will the presentation be shared or? All right, perfect. I'll apologize in advance for the number of slides, but we'll move through quickly, recognizing the areas of key interest for the municipality here, especially the focus on natural gas and our desired focus also on site readiness as well. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here today. If we can move through 2 slides to our staff. I did want to introduce the municipality to a few new members of the SLEP team because I think it's important that people are aware of who's here to support the municipality. As of last week, we had a new VP Economic Development join our team. As well as a new operations and finance lead, joined a couple months ago on a maternity leave contract. But additionally, our marketing position has been filled for the first time in a considerable period of time within the organization to highlight opportunities across Lambton County, including Warwick Township. If we can move to the next slide and really through 2 of them, if we may. But on that one, as we fly through, I did want to highlight our activities to ensure visibility of properties that do exist within Warwick Township, so that potential investment opportunities are aware of the land and buildings that are in the area. On the next slide is a quick introduction, just as an update of the investment pipeline that we've seen as an organization through this year. The number of active projects that we're currently seeking to try and attract to the area. Of course, the vast majority of these fall in line with the core economic sectors as identified within our organization's strategic plan, some of which are appropriate for Warwick Township, some of them aren't. But I will say, from the opportunities that could hold opportunity here, there are some related to manufacturing, to logistics and warehousing, to food and retail, certainly to agriculture, that we'd like to see ultimately identify whether Warwick would be a suitable location for them. But what I will come back to later in the presentation is the fact that land availability and land readiness is really driving opportunity and really assists in the development of our programming to service specific municipalities in Lambton County. So I'll speak a little bit further on land and buildings later in the presentation. For a moment, I'll pass it over to Chantel to discuss our BRNE efforts.
Thank you very much. So Matthew's alluded to our industry attraction work. Oh, Matthew has alluded to the work we do in industry attraction, but my role specifically is focused on supporting our existing business community. So a key component of that is our business retention and expansion program. And what that means is essentially we go out and we build relationships with the existing business community in partnership with other organizations, including our municipal partners. So we have been meeting with existing businesses in Warwick, and we will continue to do so. And the goal is to connect with them, understand their challenges and opportunities, and make sure that we are aware of any expansion opportunities that they're seeking so that we can support that growth in the community. We have been attending some events in the community, and that really has helped us facilitate connections with some of the existing business community, as well as doing business support hours here in the community, and had the opportunity to walk through the community with Stephanie and build off of her connections as well. So we look forward to continuing to work with the existing business community here.
Excellent. Thank you, Chantel. Next, I'll touch rather briefly on our workforce retention and expansion efforts, and we'll move through to the next slide from there. One of the things we've been focusing on, especially this year, is a real effort to engage youth. So youth retention, I think, is really important when it comes to all municipalities across Lambton County, and that's been identified as a core need across all municipalities here. So we have developed a youth retention strategy and implementation plan, and have been developing various programming associated with it. That's included youth summits, engagement with various high schools across Lambton County, and of course, working with Lambton College, which is a critical asset locally, where we'd like to see the students, especially those that are coming in from outside, ultimately reside long-term here in Lambton County. We can move to the next slide there. A couple current initiatives that I'd like to highlight briefly that are fairly new, just introduced last week, is the Idea Leadership Academy, which really focuses on inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility. This is something that is applicable and can be accessed by Warwick-based businesses. Up to 100 businesses across Lambton County can access this program, and it really is first come, first serve. Just introduced last week, we've already seen a quarter of our licenses currently utilized. So from the community, we really hope that local businesses are utilizing that. And if it proves to be a success, we will implement it further across Lambton County. Additionally, I'd really like to highlight that the Apprenticeship Network and Explore Talent Portals, which seek to engage local businesses to drive in accommodating their workforce needs, whether it's identifying potential apprentices, whether it's seeking out some of the international students who are coming through Lambton County, and ensuring that they have employability opportunities, especially in filling the skills gaps that have been identified. Those programs are long-term sustainable programs that we hope are accessed at any time by local businesses. And we have seen various entities within Warwick Township that have taken part, especially in those last two. If we can move to the next slide here, I'm really going to highlight one of these three. We have various applications out to the federal and provincial government for pretty large scale workforce projects that we hope to see come to fruition across Lambton County. The one that we're hoping that can have the biggest impact should it come to fruition in Warwick Township would be the Ontario Immigration Nominee Program, which would see up to 100 workers who fit skills gaps, bringing in newcomers into communities, working with existing businesses to allow these newcomers to jump the line when it comes to citizenship opportunities. And this is a competitive application process right now, but we were approached by the provincial government to submit an application for it. And we really hope that this is something that we can see introduced over the next few months. So we'll keep everybody informed, but did really want to highlight that skills gaps, identifying them, and ultimately supporting the attraction of the workforce to fill those skills gaps, either through existing or new potential programming, is hot on our radar. When it comes to the Small Business Enterprise Center, and we'll fly through 2 slides here if we may. Thank you very much. We successfully implemented the Summer Company Program and the Starter Company Program, which are mainstays of the Small Business Enterprise Center. This year, we saw 5 students take part in the Summer Company Program, which saw them open small businesses across the community. And the Starter Company Program saw 10 businesses access $5,000 grants, and 2 businesses receive $3,000 grants to support the further development of their business opportunities across Lambton County. There, we saw a good split in those programs between the city of Sarnia and rural communities, ensuring that many of the smaller communities did have participation in those programs. If we can go to the next slide, rather briefly, did want to highlight the Warwick Business Office Hours that have been taken place through the Small Business Enterprise Center, in addition to the Business Retention Expansion Program. Warwick was the first community where SLEP has done these office hours. And as a result of what we're viewing as some of the success of it, we will be implementing it elsewhere across the county. We really do want to offer the thanks of the municipal staff, where we've seen one of the real highlights of these office hours is not only the engagement with the local business community, but it's the engagement with municipal staff as well. Being aware of what's going on from an economic development perspective, but also within the town hall as well. Outside of just having the office hours, the biggest thing we've really seen come out of these has been the community walks, which is where Chantel and Allison from our team have been going out knocking on doors of businesses, asking them what are their concerns, what are their opportunities, trying to build relationships so that companies are willing to work with SLEP so that we can support them and ultimately support the municipality. From a branding and marketing standpoint, if we can go one more slide there, I did want to highlight that our staff has been working with the township to update the Warwick Community Prospectus document, which was initially created in 2020. We want to bring it up to 2024 standards so that it can be utilized as a tool to drive a new opportunity to the area, and prospective business owners or investors can see what the true opportunities are within the township here. Additionally, we have rejuvenated our newsletter, and fairly often we do seek to feature Warwick-based properties within that newsletter. If we can move 2 slides to the natural gas expansion portion, I did want to state that the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership truly believes that natural gas is of the utmost importance, not just Lambton County, but really all of Ontario. This year at our AGM, we brought in a speaker who very much focused on the need for natural gas, especially in rural communities, and especially to drive agricultural opportunity as well and new investment there. But we believe it's going to support everything from housing to commercial development to new industrial development. And it's going to be an important aspect of the energy transition across Ontario. And really that path to net zero that we've been focusing on as a organization for the benefit of Lambton County. A few of the things to speak on, first, not necessarily specific to Warwick Township. We did support the amendments through Bill 165 that would reset the revenue horizon from 0 to 40 years. And we did state that rebasing is a newly created barrier for Ontario's housing, industrial, and agricultural sectors that creates competitive disadvantages through the introduction of greater costs and uncertainty that these industries would need to absorb. Additionally, we advocated that the OEB's decision significantly impacts Enbridge's capital budget and therefore constrains their ability to invest in or grow natural gas infrastructure. This could impact Sarnia-Lambton, where rural municipalities seek to gain greater access to natural gas infrastructure for residents and businesses, and Warwick Township is certainly one of those municipalities. Additionally, when it comes to leave to construct, we advocated for the leave to construct threshold to be increased from $2 million to $10 million to allow for projects to move forward in a more timely manner and with greater certainty for investors, for municipalities, and for Enbridge as well. When it comes to Warwick specifically, we have worked with Enbridge to support the Twin Creeks landfill Enbridge gas renewable natural gas project, and especially as it related to the pipeline infrastructure associated with this project. Certainly, I think it is worth noting that and Enbridge has been quite clear in our advocacy to see some of that renewable natural gas come into the community, that unfortunately that particular pipeline is a high pressure pipeline that can't be tapped into based on its current design. That is something that we recognize as perhaps a missed opportunity for the community. Now, when it comes to Warwick itself, we are continually communicating with Enbridge regarding the need for additional investment connecting natural gas infrastructure into the township. Certainly, I'll raise Warwick Village as an example of a place we know there's a critical need and that there's a critical ask. We've committed to support and advocate for funding to be secured for the township and Enbridge if and when the natural gas expansion program, if a phase 3 becomes a reality, and to communicating the need to secure funding in the absence of that program. I want to highlight an example of where we have worked closely with the municipality to access funding for critical infrastructure, where we look forward to the opportunity to working very much in line with Warwick Township. We worked recently with St. Clair Township when it came to accessing funding for their wastewater treatment facility. Ultimately, they're successful in gaining about $33 million for what could be about a $45 million project. And so we'd like to see a similar opportunity here on the natural gas side to encourage development. Additionally, as was noted earlier in the council meeting, we participated in the Rural Economic Development Roundtable with MPP Pinsino, and we emphasized the need for investment in critical infrastructure that facilitates rural economic development. And that's everything from natural gas to water to wastewater utility infrastructure and things like transportation infrastructure as well. Additionally, just last week, we had Minister Oosterhoff in Lambton County, who's the Associate Minister with the Ministry of Energy Intensive Industry. Well, he was here specific for hydrogen opportunity across Ontario. Part of the visit was through to the Enbridge Dawn Hub. And what was really emphasized was the critical importance of natural gas and the critical importance of accessibility of that natural gas to municipalities across Ontario, including Warwick Township. If I can move to the next slide. Moving off of the natural gas piece, and this is my last slide here. I did discuss this last time we were here at council, but it's a critical component of the economic partnerships strategic plan. And one of our core strategic pillars is the need to communicate on land readiness. And this is something that's impacting every single municipality across Lambton County at this point in time. And that's the need for investment-ready land and buildings. Currently, Lambton County doesn't have truly investment-ready greenfield or brownfield industrial land to support light or heavy industrial development. We have lots of land that has lots of opportunity. It's not truly investment-ready. So we're trying to get out and educate every municipality on what's necessary to drive investment. When I showed those 90-something leads that we're currently working on, how do we make them a reality? Because the reality is very few of those opportunities are coming to us and saying, we want to be in Warwick Township, or we want to be in Lambton County. They're saying we want to be in Southwestern Ontario, or we want to be in Ontario, or we want to be in North America, which means we're competing with places that do have investment-ready land and investment-ready buildings. I'll give a perfect example of success profiles. You just need to look down the road at the Warwick Industrial Park or at the St. Clair Township Industrial Parks, where there was investment-ready land, and where it was investment-ready, it's now filled. Other industrial parks, whether they're private or public across Lambton County, do not have that same state of investment readiness, and we're seeing a lack of investment as a result. Alternatively, you can look to Strathroy, Chatham-Kent, or London with their innovation park, where land is ready to go and investment is taking place. Site selection client, one of the things I did want to educate on. So what exactly is land readiness? It's land that's properly zoned and permitted with uses that are very well understood. Studies have been completed, which might include ESA 1s, 2s, geotechnical, archaeological, topographic studies, floodplain or species at risk studies. The parcels have been identified and planned. And the utility capacities are not only understood, but they're available to the lot lines. And this is, again, something that it's not necessarily something for the municipalities to take on, although certainly it could be, but it's something where we're really trying to educate private landowners as well. Because if they truly want to see their land, see investment, they need to take this on. So what can we do to assist? We're glad to work with public and private stakeholders in assisting and informing what is site readiness, and to try and in helping to identify projects that bring land or buildings to market to drive investment across Lambton County. Now, lastly, in the absence of investment-ready land, this is where those points that we discussed earlier about business retention expansion programming, workforce development programming, and entrepreneurship support become critically important. Because we do, as an organization, need to be of benefit to all municipalities across Lambton County, and it's going to utilize all of those pillars of the organization to support the continued growth and stability of projects locally. I'll stop there. Happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you, Matthew and Chantal, for your presentation. Does anybody have any questions for our guest? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the Skilled Trade Expo. Is there another one set up for 2025 or dates for that? I'm involved with the agricultural industry, and there's specific specialty training that we're trying to get more people into. So I think this might be a good fit. So I'm just curious about that.
Presently, there's not a date for 2025, although typically when it comes to expos like that, or alternatively various types of job fairs that might exist, they do take place on an annual basis. So one of the things we can certainly seek to ensure is that it's well communicated as with a suitable amount of time for all municipalities to be aware, and certainly all industries, including the agricultural community, to be involved.
Anyone else have any questions? We normally don't take questions from the floor. It's not part of our protocol, but I will allow it. I'm assuming it's probably a natural gas question. We do need a microphone for you.
I can speak loud enough.
I want to make sure the microphone picks it up for the people at home. So can we have you come up here? This side microphone's still working, right? So come on up, Nancy. We'll let you ask a question. I know Nancy's put a lot of work into the natural gas file, so we're going to give her the opportunity to speak. No problem. Put Nancy's microphone on for her.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just have a question. What kind of monies are available to Warwick Township to bring natural gas? Like possibly how much could be available?
I guess I don't really have a good number for exactly what could be available, but certainly through the various funds that infrastructure funds, we are seeing tens of millions of dollars where there's proper business cases that can be made. And certainly we're more than happy to advocate on behalf of and in collaboration with the municipality to try and access those funds. I apologize for not having a direct number associated with it.
There are possibly more than what I can tell you, but there are 187 residents, businesses combined that are interested in natural gas in Warwick Township alone. This does not include Watford. This is Warwick Village and surrounding areas. I did go door to door. I did go to council meetings to get a petition signed. I've then taken these names and combined them to see how many truly want it. How can we put pressure on the government to put this through? Because in phase 1 and phase 2, Cottage Country got, I don't know, 150 residents hooked up. Boblo Island, between Amherstburg and Detroit, underwater, 95. Like, what is this? All about money, 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 like richy rich places, which Lambton County is not. Lambton County, actually, a lot of people make less than, let's say, London or Toronto. And then you're saying you want to attract young folks to be here. Well, you know what? I had to buy a house with my son. He's 30. Okay, we're looking at a mortgage going up to 5% in 2 years. What are we gonna do? I would like to make another residence on the property, but you know what? Everything is hard to do. Why am I gonna go in debt, further debt to do this when there's not sewers, there's not natural gas? Seriously, like I got a house for my father that I've decided to spend my money in Leamington actually to try and make more rentals there on the property with the garden suite. Why do I want to spend my money here? Please. Unless the services are here.
Most certainly. And that's definitely the argument when it comes to advocating for natural gas expansion. What we're hearing directly, of course, through Enbridge is the money needs to come from somewhere. And so whether that's a combination of the people that it's impacting, whether it's the municipality, but also through support of those higher levels of government. The advocacy work is something that's certainly critical. And that's where we do hope to work in line with the community. More than happy to engage directly with the residents and businesses within the township, because where we can strengthen those cases is where we're truly going to be successful. And I think the argument really is going to be where we're going to be successful is by hitting multiple ministries within the provincial government, for example, so that they can see the impact on residents, so they can see the impact on workforce, so they can see the impact on new investment opportunity as well. That's where we've been successful in helping other communities attract infrastructure funding, and certainly where we hope to be in the future. Whether that's ministry direct, whether that's utilizing our local representatives, a loud, strong, and persistent voice is certainly something you can count on our organization to provide.
So if I can just cut in, we've been doing that. We've been working on that for the last 2 years. I don't know how many ministers that we spoke to, but and to be honest with you, SLUP has been assisting us on the way when it comes to that. But this has been going on for a long time, as Nancy's mentioned, is something we've been advocating for. We talked about the gas being produced at the Twin Creeks landfill. The day after this council was sworn in, we met with WM. Some of us met with WM and talked about if there's an opportunity to catch on with the gas being produced. At the time, they weren't producing a pure natural gas. They still are not producing a natural gas that we can count on because of pressures and stuff like that. But it's something we've been doing. And Nancy's been helping us. She's been working, as she said, she's got lots of people who have signed a petition. So something we've continued to work on, and you guys have been helpful, but again, we got to continue to try to find ways. Recent meeting with the new Minister of Energy, they keep changing the ministers, Minister Lecce. We also made the case again, why Warwick Township is a good business case. Actually, Enbridge supports our business case, and we even have a letter of support from Waste Management in trying to obtain this natural gas. So any help over and above, as we talked about today, and you've already been providing, would be helpful. And again, it was promised once, about 6 years ago, with all the fanfare and photo ops with a lot of the political people at the time, and it was yanked away only to go to another community. So it is something we want to continue to work at, and any help you can provide, as always, Matthew, Chantel, we would appreciate it. So, okay, well, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you, Nancy. We're going to carry on unless anybody else has any other questions about anything else to do with the economic development file. I think we've given it a good crack. Seeing none. All right. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you for all the support and work and working with Warwick Township. We appreciate it.
Thank
So
you for the
thank you very
opportunity.
much. Thank you. Okay, council, we're going to go back to our agenda. Let's go to 13C. And this is a report from Stephanie on the Watford Summer Market. Well-written report, in my opinion, and she's asking for a motion to receive and file, and also asking for direction from council. Does anybody have any questions on the report that Stephanie's put together? Seeing none. So what I'm going to do is I would entertain a motion to receive and file, and then we could talk about the direction separately. So thank you, Councillor Manning. Thank you, Councillor Morris. All in favor? That's carried. So again, Stephanie's looking for direction in moving forward with this. I've had a couple good chats with Stephanie, and I think the fair thing to do, and Stephanie, if you want to speak to it, you're welcome to, but I think the fair thing in dealing with this issue, Stephanie has done a good job in working with the folks at ANZ and moving forward to find a strategy and working next year. It might be something we might be best to let her go with and then come back with a future report to council on what that actually entails. So Stephanie, I don't want to cut you off. Did you want to speak to this at all? You're welcome to.
Thank you, Mayor Case. Yeah, I think we've had some great discussions with AZ Events, and we were able to identify our successes as well as areas that where we could improve to help generate some more vendors and people to come. So I think just working with them folks, having another meeting discussion, I'm happy to bring back a report on a path forward for 2025.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Is everybody okay with just direction to Stephanie to continue working with them and to bring back a report in the future to council for consideration? I think for the most part, it was a pretty good thing that happened in our community, and it did bring some people out. So it's something that could be expanded on. So we'll look forward to Stephanie's report in the near future. Thank you, Stephanie. Don't go too far away. We have the CIP committee. And there's a recommendation for that one. That is 13D. How does council wish to deal with the recommendation on the CIP, Community Improvement Plan? Councillor Morris, are you moving that?
I am moving that recommendation.
You, Councillor, seconded by Councillor Manning. Any further discussion on the matter? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And let's go to E if we could. Stephanie, I told you not to go too far away. Economic Development and Communications Quarterly Updates. And this is a receive and file recommendation too, but does anybody have any questions on this particular report on economic development? Seems to be the theme of this meeting today with SLUP being here. Any questions? Okay, I would ask for a motion to receive and file then, please. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, seconded by Councillor Manning. All in favor? That's carried. And she's asking for some direction when it comes to local governments. I don't know, Stephanie, you've kind of handled that last year. Seemed to work. Does anybody have any suggestions, or do we just let Stephanie do her thing? Anybody want to suggest anything? All right. Well, I guess direction is, Stephanie, carry on. What you did last year must have worked. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. Okay, council, let's take us to the last piece of business in the open session, and that's the Mahar Drain petition. And at this point in time, we appoint an engineer to deal with this. What's council's wishes in moving forward on this particular item on the Mahar Drain? Councilor Morris.
I guess I have a question. This is a maintenance job. I didn't think they usually came to council. I don't really want them all to come to council because the ratepayers are the ones that pay it. And it's slowing the system up.
So it is actually a construction drain. It does say maintenance in the report, but I did talk to the clerk and it is construction.
Okay.
So that's where there's a little bit, I had a bit of a question.
And I make the
myself.
motion, we appoint an engineer.
What engineer would you like to appoint, sir?
Brief.
Want to appoint Sprates? Okay. Do we have a seconder to that? Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Is there any new business anybody wish to bring forward today? Seeing none? Okay. We're now going to end the open part of our meeting today, and I'm going to ask for a motion to move in camera pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Number 2, a matter regarding personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 5, a matter concerning litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board section. Do I have a mover and a second to move? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, Councillor Westgate, all in favor? That's it. Okay. We'll just give people a chance to, and again, thank you very much to everybody who tuned in. This does end the open portion of our meeting. Thank you.